Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. For all of us, this new year feels more vulnerable than any we can remember. We carry the burdens of personal worry, of health, of finances, of family. As citizens of this great and troubled democracy, we worry about our country's future. And as residents on this planet, we are worried about the sustainability of our land and waters, of our earth itself. We may be separate tonight, but we are not alone. We can share with one another the burdens of our worry, and even more, we can strengthen each other. Some of our neighboring congregations made the decision to pre-record services. We are with you tonight, live. We are all going to pray together tonight. We can and must strengthen our resolve that 5781 will renew in us courage, gratitude, and joy, and strengthen our capacity to act and to heal. Hine ma tov, how good it is. During this pandemic, our basements have become our yoga studios, kitchens have become classrooms, dining rooms have been turned into offices. Tonight, where are our sanctuaries? In your home. And so take a moment to create the sacred space that you will need to pray with us tonight. If you're watching on a computer, move it back a little bit so you're not manipulating the keys, just watching. You might want to turn off other auditory distractions. If it's not too late, put a tablecloth on the table. In a moment, we'll be lighting candles and singing Kiddush. Have candles, have your wine ready, even apples and honey. Grab a few photos of people in your life now, or who were in your life that you would like to bring close tonight. We invite you to open your machzor to page 11. The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded in everything you do, be a menorah, be a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kirevanu v'hiyanu lozman
Did I mention sing? Sing your heart out. This is the time when no one will care how much you sing. This is Shabbat as well as Rosh Hashanah. A Shabbat custom is to bless those in our family, and we invite you to reach out your arms to family who's with you or friends who are with you, or to reach the corners of your screen to embrace all those about whom you think tonight and whom you want to bless. I invite you to say after me, Yevarechecha Adonai V'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai Panav Elecha V'yichuneka. May the light of God's grace shine on you. Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha V'yasem Lecha Shalom. May God be with you and bless you with peace. If you can, hug someone or throw hugs in their direction wherever they are. Pour a glass of wine. We turn together to page 79 for the Kiddush for Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah.
Vayerev vayivoker yom hashishi vaychulu hashamayim v'aretz v'chol tzevaham vaychal Elohim v'yom hashvi'i menachto asher asa vayishbot v'yom hashvi'i mikol menachto asher asa ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני. אלוהינו מלך העולם. בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני. אלוהינו מלך העולם. אשר בחר בנו מכל עם ורוממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבו את יום השבת הזה ואת יום הזיכרון הזה, יום זיכרון תרועה, יהווה מקרא קודש. זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי הבנו בחרת ואותנו כי ידשת מכל העמים. ודברך אמת וקיים אלוהד, ברוך אתה אדוני. ברוך שמו. מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת. מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת. איי איי איי, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת. מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת. מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת בישראל, ויום הזיכרון. Las
L'chaim. Please join me on page 99. You're welcome to read with me in Hebrew and in English, getting ready to dip apples into honey. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be for goodness. May it be for sweetness. Page 15, Tik'u v'chodesh shofar. At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast day, sound the shofar, for that is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. Hallelujah, b'tekah shofar, praise God with the blast of the shofar. Tikiyah.
Let's rise together and turn together to page 16. On pages 16 and 17, we find the words of the prayer Hineni, the prayer with which we begin the kind of praying that we do, the introspection that we do for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The cantor has a beautiful piece on page 17, the traditional Hineni, where he prepares himself with great humility, asking that he have the strength and all that he needs to pray on behalf of our community. And we individually have our own page 16 in blue, that we read quietly along with his chanting so that we can prepare ourselves as well.
נרעש ונפחד מפחד יושב תהילות ישראל באתי לעמוד ולהתחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל אשר שלחוני אף על פי שאיני חדי והגון לך על כן אבקש ממך אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה. אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, אלוהי ישראל, שאדוני היום ונורא.
I now prepare myself to pray, one soul amidst this holy congregation. We remain standing and we turn together to page 20 for Baruch Hu. Let's read together on page 22. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk as your wisdom opens the gates of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive and all that is beyond our perception. Living eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk.
Adonai, Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, lai,
Page 24.
Ahavat olam, with everlasting love, hast thou loved the house of Israel, Israel, Beit Israel, Amcha. Ahavat olam, lai, 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 אתה אדוני. אוהב עמו
In the middle of page 25, Shema Yisrael. Hear the words of the mystics. There is nothing but God. No place and no person is empty of God. The whole earth is suffused with God's glory. Hear, O Israel, God's hands are our hands. God's work is our work. God's voice speaks through us. God is one when we are one. Please rise in the place where Spirit rises in you as we turn to page 26 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We are seated and we continue on page 33. You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you Miriam dances, unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song. Page 34.
מי כמוך פועלים
On page 36, the words of Hashkivenu.
צאתנו בואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני ברוך הוא ברוך שמו הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us the shelter of your shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. A prayer for Shabbat, Vishamru, page 38.
לדורותם ברית עולם. בששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת
Let all Israel keep Shabbat and celebrate Shabbat for all generations as an everlasting covenant. It is a sign forever, a bond between me and Israel, that in 6 days the Eternal One made the heavens and the earth, but on the seventh day God stopped and breathed a new soul into the world. Chatzi Kaddish is on page 40.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. אמן. בעלמות יפרח חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו. אמן. ישעי רבנו וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה ולעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, וימרו.
On page 42, we find the beginning of the Amidah. Let's rise together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה.
אתה אדוני, ברוך הוא ברוך שמו, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אמן. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו, לחיים ברחמים, ונאמנתו להחיית הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
We're going to continue on our own through page 71 with the words of the Amidah. There are beautiful words here in the Machzor, or you could close the book, close your eyes, find the words of your own prayers, or if you're sitting near someone, just gaze at their face. If there's no one there, you could gaze at our faces, but I think you'd be better off gazing at someone else's face. But take the time you need in quiet for your own prayers, and we'll join together in a few minutes.
If your prayer's not over, please continue. We turn back to page 60 for Ritzay.
Ritzay Adonai Eloheinu B'yamecha Yisrael U'tefilatam b'yahava tekabel U'tehi leratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael
Page 65. After a long illness, I was permitted for the first time to step outdoors. And as I crossed the threshold, sunlight greeted me. So long as I live, I shall never forget that moment. And everywhere in the firmament above me, in the great vault between earth and sky, on the pavements, the buildings, the golden glow of sunlight, it touched me, too, with friendship, with warmth, with blessing. And I remembered how often I had been indifferent to the sunlight, how often preoccupied with petty and sometimes mean concerns, I had disregarded it. And I said to myself, how precious is the sunlight, but alas, how careless of it we are. Page 66, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omcha Tasim Yulah
Let's rise together. The words of Avinu Malkeinu are found on page 74.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'Oneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'Oneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh anu, tzedakah. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu. Ve'yalol aleinu v'taveinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kol
If you are standing, you may be seated. Cover your right eye and read from the top line. E, F, P, T, O, Z. That's it. Now with your glasses. E, D, F, C, Z, P. That's better. 2020. This is Rosh Hashanah 2020. A new year. 2020. A Rosh Hashanah we never expected. We didn't see it coming. 6 months ago, practically to the day, our full staff gathered here in this sanctuary. Our clergy, our administrative and ground staff, our school directors and program staff, all of us. It was Purim 2020. We were dressed in our Purim masquerade, and we had gathered to record and video a song.
We'll be wise, we won't kiss you. Tonight we will miss you. No progress or steel makes us blue. Even though we're away, Edom is us today. And we send Purim greetings to you.
6 months apart. Purim and the high holidays. The two holidays facing off at opposite sides of our yearly orbit stand at nearly opposite ends of our own emotional orbit. Purim in the spring, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur in the fall. Purim, a holiday known for its drunkenness, revelry, and masquerade. The high holidays, starting this evening, known for anything but. Many years ago, David and I were interviewing a young student who had applied to our religious school in Southern California. We needed to find out what she already knew about Judaism in order to place her in the appropriate class. "Tell me about a Jewish holiday," David said to her. Well, she said, "Things were going okay for the Jews, and then this evil king arose and tried to wipe us out, but in the last minute, we won." "That's a good start," David said. "Which holiday were you talking about?" "I don't know," she said. "All of them." Surely, our young California student didn't have Purim and the high holidays in mind when she said they were all basically the same. And so, it is bizarre and intriguing that Hasidic sages, playing on the full name of Yom Kippur, Yom Kippurim, tell us that Yom Kippurim really means Yom, a day, K, like Purim. Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. In other words, we should make our Yom Kippur a day like Purim. Yom Kippur is the end point of 10 days that begin this evening with the new moon of Rosh Hashanah. 10 days in which we make the commitment to get our vision tested. What have we not seen in our lives? What has been obscured and hidden? What have we neglected? We take our spectacles and turn them inward. 10 days of introspection, insight. 10 days. This year, our high holidays are not 10 days. Our high holidays began in March. They began with Purim. We'll be wise, we won't kiss you. Tonight, we will miss you. It was our silly, fun-filled announcement that we needed to cancel Purim services and the carnival and Purim festivities. Yom Kippurim, the day like Purim, had started, but we didn't know it. Purim masquerade gave way to masks, not one day, but every day. Yes, now every day was Purim. We were all wearing masks. But every day was also like Yom Kippur, like the high holidays. Who will live and who will die? Raw fear. If this is my life, how do I want to live it? What is really important to me? These are the questions of the high holidays, and we've been asking them nearly every day for 6 months. Only now we are asking them together. We will turn these questions into prayer. Man is least himself when he talks in his own person, Oscar Wilde wrote. Give him a mask, and he will tell you the truth. Our faces may be masked, but some things we're beginning to see more clearly. I'm telling you this, writes poet Mariangela, we needed to stop. We knew it. We all felt it, that it was too furious, our frenzy, being inside of things, outside of ourselves. Squeeze every hour, make it yield. We needed to stop, and we couldn't. We needed to do it together, slow down the race, but we couldn't. Something in us wanted to be opened. Perhaps, I don't know, we must each see ourselves. A common fate holds us here. We knew it, but not well enough. Either all of us or no one. A single organism, to that grasp of a palm in another person's palm, to that simple act we are now forbidden. We will return with expanded awareness. We'll be here more attentive, I think. Our hand will be more delicate in the doing of life, now that we know how sad it is to stand 2 meters apart. That simple act, our palm in another's palm, is forbidden to us all. That is a suffering we all share. We all carry the weight of personal worry and anxiety, but we have not suffered equally in this pandemic. Some have lost income or livelihoods. Many have been ill. Some of us have been hospitalized, and many of us have lost members of our families or close friends to the ravages of this virus. We haven't been able to sit by the bedside of the dying. We haven't been able to bury our loved ones or to be comforted by friends. The suffering is great, and it is likely not over. Sometimes, as suffering peels back layers of the life we have built, it exposes and reveals what has been underneath. Beneath is the quiet and gentle beating of a heart, a vulnerable heart. Over time, our hearts have hardened. We've been too busy to listen to our kids. We rush them off to school or the next play date or soccer practice, or did you finish your homework, or not now, or I have to take this call. We couldn't take the time off from work to have dinner with our wives, our husbands, our partners, our loved ones. Who had time to hear the birds, to notice the flowers, to utter a prayer of hope or despair or gratitude? We were closed to the life around us and in us. The suffering is not a gift. To be peeled back, to be vulnerable, and to see what is exposed underneath, that is a chance, the possibility of a gift. One strange gift of the pandemic, writes another poet, is the awakening of heart chambers I didn't know were asleep. For a brief moment, the first few weeks of the pandemic, I felt the panic of scarcity, the worry of survival. You may remember those days. No toilet paper, no bleach, no Lysol, no yeast, no flour. Could we get milk? And for a brief moment, I could imagine that so many people right around me feel that way all the time. For a moment, the structures of prosperity that support my life peeled back, and I could feel with others. I could feel part of, connected to humanity, not apart. For a moment. And then Amazon kicked back up. In no time, we were back to 2-day delivery. Whatever I dream of, I can find online. And it's here in no time. For a brief moment, my heart could feel with the vulnerability of other hearts. And so my greatest fear with this pandemic is not our suffering. My greatest fear is that our suffering will have been in vain. I fear that when it's over, may it come soon, that we'll be so happy that it's behind us that we'll go back to everything the way it was before, happily. And it wasn't all good before. There is so much for us to learn. There is so much we need to change. There is so much we didn't see before. Our faces are masked, but we are seeing some things more clearly. No, this is not the scroll we need. We need a different measure for our vision. This is the one. We didn't get to hear it this last Purim. We were already hunkering down and shivering inside. It was the time of great trouble in those days, too. A buffoon and incompetent king was in power, whose only interest was living lavishly and who tolerated only adulation from his advisors. He encouraged his government to sow hatred and divisiveness, and to denigrate minorities and to target them for persecution. It was in this moment of vulnerability that Mordechai sends a message to Esther, do something. I can't, she says, it could cost my life. Don't think, Mordechai responds, don't think that just because you are in a palace of privilege that you will escape this fate. Who knows, mi yodea? Who knows if maybe you are alive for just this reason? Maybe you, maybe each of us, maybe we are in this place at this time for a reason. The story of Purim calls us to courage. This will be our focus on Yom Kippur Day. The Purim I know and love is also a holiday of joy. To emerge more whole from this pandemic, we will need courage and we will need joy. Shortly after Purim, our New York kids and their kids moved in with us. We were 11 people at home for 5 months until just a few weeks ago. For us, like many of you, it was unexpected, incredible, and intimate time with our children and grandchildren. The early weeks were also a time of fear. Though we had all quarantined for 2 weeks before, we were all worried. What if one person gets sick? Suppose I'm the one to get everyone sick. Does every family need a separate towel in the bathroom? Where do we put the mail? How do we bring in the food? You know, you had the same stuff, same fears, same anxieties. I also remember early on the aggressive affirmation of joy. Joy in the face of fear. Running outside in the rain as the first rays of sunlight were breaking through, sure that we would see a rainbow, and everyone jumping up and down in the still pouring rain, screaming with joy because, yes, there was a rainbow, a double rainbow. Joy in the face of fear. The crazy 24-hour Kol Amizumathon, the aggressive asserting of joy and life. Mira and Dami learning to ride a bike and finishing Harry Potter Volume 1 and Volume 2, and there were lots of months together. Sela mastering the sewing machine, spotting hawks and owls and cardinals, and you saw them too. Joy. We had such limited vision. We were too busy and too preoccupied to see. And then with a jolt and great shuddering, the veil of our preoccupations was lifted, and fear and anxiety peeled back our hardened exterior. Our suffering has exposed us, and we are more vulnerable and more feeling. I fear for us that we will not remember. Etgar Keret, one of Israel's greatest contemporary writers, was featured in a collection of short stories of COVID-19 in a July edition of the New York Times Magazine. The whole amazing story is 500 words. I'm taking the concluding several sentences describing what it might be like as we emerge from this pandemic. Your heart pounds. The air whistles through your lungs, and you're not sure if you're going to make it. Near the ATM sits a man wearing dirty clothes, and there's a tin cup next to him. You do remember what you're supposed to do in this situation. You quickly walk past him, and when he tells you in a cracked voice that he hasn't eaten anything in 2 days, you look in the opposite direction, avoiding eye contact, like a pro. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's like riding a bike. The body remembers everything. And the heart that softened while you were alone will harden back up in no time. We are in this together. We have traveled through these months together. And when it is over, we will need to remind each other. We cannot forget that we were afraid, that we were vulnerable, that we fought for joy, that we were able to feel and feel for others. We cannot forget that for a while our hearts were softened. We have walked this path together these past months. I invite you to leave a trail marker on the path. Write or draw the prayer of your heart on one of the prayer flags we have distributed. Bring them back to Kol Ami between Rosh Hashanah and the beginning of Sukkot, October 2nd. Call me, call us if you didn't receive one. We have commissioned an artist, Judy Sirota Rosenthal, to tie our prayers onto ropes of jute and to lift our prayers to the wind in the trees outside our chapel in the woods. They will be there to remind us that once our hearts were softened and that we needed to pray. We cannot forget that once our hearts were softened. I have always loved, often quoted, and never quite understood the Hasidic teaching, there is nothing as whole as a broken heart. Our hearts have been cracked open. We have been given a chance now to become more whole and to live a more feeling, compassionate, joyous, and courageous life. For this, we can wish each other a Shana Tova. Aleinu is a call to live a life that matters. We thank you, God, for giving us this chance. We stand or rise in the place where Spirit rises in us for Aleinu, page 82.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Together at the top of page 85, may the time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. We can be seated. An honor now to have our President Hank Ruda share greetings for Shabbat and for the New Year.
Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and officers of Congregation Kol Ami, I'm so pleased to welcome all of you who are joining us tonight, wherever you may be. While you are not here with us, we feel, absolutely feel, your spirit in this beautiful sanctuary. Tonight I would normally be joined on the bima by our past presidents, Mark Hershey, Lisa Borowitz, David Lee, Neil Tucker, Ronnie Cohn, Mark Seiden, Susan Cohn, and Scott Musoff. Thank you to all of you for all that you have done and continue to do for our congregation. There's quite a bit going on this Rosh Hashanah. Tomorrow morning's Rosh Hashanah Day service starts at 10 o'clock, and like tonight, will be live streamed. Our traditional family service will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, also via live stream. And at 3 o'clock tomorrow, we're having some special programming for our K through 3 and 4 through 6 grade students, both of which will be via Zoom. Some special instructions in this week at Kol Ami. Second day of Rosh Hashanah services will be via Zoom at 10 a.m. Then, we're participating in something new and really cool on Sunday afternoon. A community shofar blowing. If you have a shofar at home, we invite you to go out to the street at 3 p.m. on Sunday and sound the shofar blasts. Or, if like me, you have absolutely no musical ability, go out to the street at 3 o'clock and hopefully hear other people sounding the shofar. I have it on good authority that if you go by Executive Director Jess Lorden's house, there may be several people blowing shofars. I think that's where I'm going to hang out. Also on Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, as Rabbi Shira just talked about, join a Zoom workshop with artist Judy Sirota Rosenthal on how to make that prayer flag. Again, I have no artistic ability whatsoever, but I'm going to try. You should have Zoom links for all of these services. If you don't, look for the email or look at This Week at Kol Ami. You'll find the Zoom links. And then, next Friday night, in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur on September 25th, come by the temple between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoon to greet Rabbi Shira, Rabbi Tom, Cantor Danny, Executive Director Jess Lorden, and myself. And maybe there'll be a special Shabbat and High Holy Day treat. Even if we cannot be together in person, our commitment to Tikkun Olam, healing the world, continues, as we are still holding our Yom Kippur food drive. Some of you have generously already brought your food when you stopped by to pick up your High Holy Day tote bags. If you didn't, don't worry, you can still participate. The best time to drop off your donations is when you come to see us this coming Friday afternoon. But if you can't make that, you can stop by the office any day between now and Yom Kippur. The Food Bank of Westchester counts on this drive more than any other to replenish their supplies. So we hope that you will generously support this important effort. Our beloved former executive director, Jane Freeberg, of blessed memory, wisely used to say that unlike us, the hungry do not fast by choice. L'shana tova umetuka. We wish you a sweet new year filled with health, happiness, and peace.
Those of us who lost members of our families in these past 6 months needed to mourn from afar. A prayer for a funeral from afar during this pandemic, written by Rabbi Naomi Levy. It breaks my heart to lay you to rest this way, from a distance, without the send-off you deserve, no touch, no kiss, no loving crowd in attendance. But I know your soul has already moved on from the body we bury today to the place of eternal knowing and peace in God's shelter. I can't bear your casket, but I can bear witness to your undying legacy. I miss you. And nothing, no person, no joy, no accomplishment, no distraction, not even God, can fill the gaping hole your absence has left in my life. But mixed together with all my sadness, there's a great joy for having known you. I want to thank you for the time we shared, for the love you gave, for the wisdom you spread. Thank you for the magnificent moments and for the ordinary ones too. There was beauty in our simplicity, holiness in our unspectacular days, and I will carry the lessons you taught me always. Your life has ended, but your light can never be extinguished. It continues to shine upon me even on the darkest nights and illuminates my way. May God watch over you and bless you as you have blessed me, with love, with grace, and with peace. Amen.
Amen.
As this is Shabbat, we also include the names of those who died in recent days and at this time in years past. We invite you to stand at the name of a loved one and know that we are all including you in our embrace. This Shabbat follows the recent deaths of Louis Bergens, Jean Quinn, Jane Friedberg, and John Auerbacher. If you are in a year of loss and would like to stand, we would like to hold you in our embrace. This Shabbat marks the yortzites of Samuel Aronson, Helen Berger, Franklin Bergman, Dora Binder, Lena Blank, Elise Borer, Sanford Cole, Irving Dranch, Lisa Dranch, Ida Fuse, Walter Geller, Fred Glassberg, Arthur Goldberg, Harvey Greenberg, Carol Hochberg, Miriam Kadar, Charlotte Candell, Susan Necht, Barnett Craver, Francis Lerner, Al Lichtenberg, Jack Pursley, Rose Pincus, Jules Reiner, Helen Reuter, Sylvia Glassman Sachs, Edward Simon, Cantor Raymond Smallover, Matthew Stotsky. Naming these aloud, naming others in our hearts, we stand together, turning to page 90 for reminders of the eternal presence. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mivorach li'olam ula'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha barichu. Le'ela ule'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom.
Page 94, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra, Le'etnasa, V'chefso kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikah. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra, Le'etnasa v'chefso kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikah. V'yacharei לכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה דרוכי בית אישן ויעירה ואמרוכי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון עולם אשר ברא בטרם כל יצירה ננסה וחסוקו אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר ברא בטרם כל יצירה ננסה וחסוקו אזי מלך שמו נקרא
Wherever you go, wherever you are, may you be a blessing and may you bring blessing. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.